Farewell Beloved Falco was a Japanese promotional manga and an interquel of sorts that took place between Star Fox 64, or Lilac Wars as it was known in PAL regions, the video game reboot of the Star Fox series after Star Fox 2 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, or SNES, was scrapped after being mostly completed in terms of development due to outdated hardware, which was released in 1997, and Star Fox Adventures that was developed in collaboration with Rareware after working their previous in development project, Dinosaur Planet, with that game releasing in 2002. As the title of the manga implies, it explains why the Star Fox team's ace pilot, Falco Lombardi, is not part of the team for the majority of the plot of Star Fox Adventures. It takes place 4 years after the Lilac War, that is to say, 4 years after the events of Star Fox 64's plot and the defeat of Dr. Andross and his Venomian forces, whereas Star Fox Adventures plot takes place 4 years after this manga, and thus 8 years after Star Fox 64. Due to the Star Fox team being good guy mercenaries for hire, they are naturally on the verge of going broke due to the nearly half-decade of peace that the Lilac system has enjoyed since Andross's burgeoning empire was rendered defunct thanks to their efforts. No good deed goes unpunished, after all. As such, everyone is stressed out and tensions are high. Fox McCloud himself is easily frustrated and going stir-crazy. Slippy can barely keep up with the necessary repairs to keep the Great Fox mothership maintained as it keeps falling apart from the aforementioned lack of funds for maintenance efforts and equipment. And Falco is even more of an abrasive jerk than usual, refusing to cooperate with the others and seemingly reveling in goading and picking fights with Fox. Peppy is also now retired, for the first time at least, and does his best to keep an eye on everyone as a resident veteran and old-timer. However, not even he knows how to quell the tensions between Fox and Falco. The plot kicks off proper when, during a training exercise between Fox and Falco piloting their R-Wings via GBC handheld simulators, the team receives an SOS transmission from Cat Monroe, and she and Falco's old gang, the Space Hot Rodders, are being attacked by an unknown assailant as she seems to be in great distress before the feed is promptly cut midway through. Fox then asks Rob 64 to track the source of the transmission, which turns out to be the planet Titania. Falco then tells Fox he's going on a vacation and immediately leaves for Titania despite the rest of the team's protests. Despite the reservation, Slippy sympathizes with Cat's crisis despite her questionable past and associations before the Great Fox is set on course to Titania after Falco. Upon arriving on Titania, Falco saves Cat from a Gorass, who then
Waiting, huh? I'm at the sneak point.
Thanks him before he curtly advises her to leave immediately before the hostile native wildlife works up the courage to return after licking its wounds. Afterwards, the remaining Star Fox team members currently searching for the AWOL Falco arrive at Titania, landing at one of the Carnarian research bases established on the planet's surface post-Venomian War in order to research its ancient history. Upon completing the docking clearance, the base's commander, Captain Shears, introduces himself proper to the team, and when learning of their situation, he agrees to aid them under the condition that they retrieve some of Andross's research that was allegedly stolen by remaining loyalists of Andross's empire. Meanwhile, Cat explains to Falco that Shears had issued a manhunt against them and suspects that he did so because he is planning something nefarious considering the ominous references of the research documents that they stumbled upon. They then catch up on each other's lives, and Cat reveals that she is now romantically involved in someone who isn't Falco, rather than continuing to fawn after and chase him. Back on the Star Fox team's end, they are briefed on the situation by Shears, who then shows them the Venomian ship responsible for the thefts, that ship in question being that of the Hot Rodders. On the bridge of the ship itself, the Hot Rodders are excited at the prospect of Falco being present to aid them. However, they are then attacked by the Star Fox team, Fox in particular, whom Falco sets out solo against in a one-on-one aerial dogfight in the respective R-Wings, ending when Falco unleashes a charge shot that severely damages Fox's R-Wing. Despite this, Falco's ship still suffers significantly worse damage, forcing him to crash land in the Titanian desert. While Fox is recovering in the medical bay, Peppy scolds him for his foolishly impulsive actions, while Slippy expresses concern for Falco, noting that his ship sustained the worst of the damage in their skirmish. Afterwards, Peppy then asks Fox what even led to their dogfight, before Fox reluctantly tells him of Falco's apparent defection to the Venomian army. Falco himself is later revealed to have survived, obviously, although his R-Wing is severely damaged in the middle of the Titanian desert, which forces him to undergo repairs, and while frustrated, he expresses admiration for Fox's skills, albeit in his own tsundere manner. Meanwhile, Captain Shears grows concerned upon learning that the Star Fox team has failed to stop the Hot Rodders, realizing that at the rate things are currently going, his secret project will more likely than not be leaked sooner rather than later, and as such, he'll most likely suffer a tribunal for high treason against the Cornerian government before he orders the Goras to be deployed once more, this time with the purpose of taking a hostage. Peppy, upon hearing Fox out, becomes disturbed at the implications of his and Falco's hostilities and begins finding Shears to be quite suspicious and requesting evasive actions due to the apparent silence around the base after supposedly being in danger from hostile Phenomian forces, which causes him to ask Slippy to investigate and scout the base via Landmaster Tank, given Peppy himself is too old to go into active duty again, or so he claims.
I promise I'm really going to retire after this.
Down on Titania 4 years prior during the Phenomian Lilat War and was nearly eaten by Agoras back then before Fox came to his rescue via Landmaster. Ironically, no sooner had he begun recollecting that traumatic past incident than did history repeat itself with Shears Goras similarly attacking him. Eventually, Peppy starts regretting sending Slippy out on his own after not hearing from him in so long. But Fox feels like Slippy will be fine given he managed to pilot his own R-Wing back during the Phenomian War. Rob then tells them that they are receiving an incoming transmission from the ship that was supposedly the Androssians as each ship, the supposed Phenomian remnant ship, hails the Star Fox team as Cat angrily chews out Fox for apparently killing Falco, while Fox himself was surprised to see Cat on Andross' ship before her second-in-command, Cool, reveals that they were never even affiliated with Andross. Peppy then has Cool explain his team's actions. The Hot Rodders had earlier stumbled upon some research documents in Shears' lab and stole them with the intention of selling them to the highest bidder, but they were never even opened the files. Thus, they are ignorant of the contents. Peppy then orders Rob to analyze the files, and after concluding his analysis, he reveals to Cool's shock that there wasn't any weapon development plans inside of the files. Instead, it is DNA coding for a cloning project regarding the resurrection of Andross himself, to everyone's horror. Peppy then realizes he had inadvertently put Slippy into grave danger and orders Rob to call Slippy back. However, he then informs Peppy that he had actually lost contact with Slippy hours ago. Slippy then wakes up within a cell inside of Shears' base. The Star Fox team and the Hot Rodders, in a joint effort, then proceed to prepare a rescue operation to liberate Slippy from the base with the latter making noise as a distraction while Fox infiltrates it. Meanwhile, Captain Shears, upon learning of this full frontal assault, and realizes that this most likely means that the Star Fox team are now aware of what he's up to, realizing that he can no longer permit them to live. Fox, now under Peppy's direct guidance via a transceiver, manages to locate Slippy's cell. Unfortunately, he inadvertently gets spotted by some of the guards, forcing him to expedite his search while eluding them. After finding Slippy, they duck away in a nearby room and barricade themselves inside. Unfortunately, this turns out to be the very biolab that is Andross' cloning chamber. Worse, it turns out that the cellular growth process for the clone in question is practically already complete, as Slippy expresses his fears regarding being eaten. At this point, Captain Shears reveals himself as Fox attempts to stop him. However, a Titanian river boar, Shears' steed, intercepts him before its master can be harmed, as Shears expresses his shame in having to silence Fox. As Fox and Shears battle, Slippy attempts to halt the rejuvenation process when Andross briefly asks him who he is, prompting Slippy to believe that he has yet to fully regain his memories yet. However, the instant the clone sees Fox, he gets triggered with murderous rage as he immediately remembers who he is. Fox and Shears continue to fight all the way to the ceremonial room, where Fox pulls off a sword from the room's coat of arms to fight evenly against Shears in the sword duel, and manages to get the upper hand by disarming Shears with the aforementioned coat of arms rapier, destroying Shears' own. Slippy, unfortunately, not only failed to stop the rejuvenation cloning process, but actually inadvertently accelerated it with his meddling. Andross, having regained the memories of his death, declares his unyielding hatred for Fox in a manner that shatters his containment tank, drenching Slippy in culture fluid, who tries warning Fox while Shears attempts to flee on his steed. only for his life to unceremoniously end from being crushed to death by the very clone being that he gambled everything on resurrecting.